The world is a business, Mr. Beale. It has been since man crawled out of the slime.
Scott doesn't have his webcam on, so we don't even know what he's doing.
I know, but we get to look at his avatar.
Ooh.
Sorry, I was totally listening, but in case I missed something, can you just start from the beginning?
Totally.
Simple.
In every situation, that should work out perfectly.
Yeah, totally.
You guys like my coffee cup? Check it out.
Let's see. Being a grandparent. Are you a grandparent?
I just grabbed it. That was silly. This is a Goodwill pickup, obviously. I don't know where this came from.
It's pretty solid.
I think one of the best Goodwill pickups I ever got was me and Jamie went into the one that's closest to our house. And that one is really sad. Like you walk in and you're just like, there is nothing here. It's 95% clothes. And even their like book area is like 2 bookshelves. So we went down to the toy section and I was looking through the board games and it's all Trivial Pursuits and half done puzzles. Nothing of note. But Jamie found it's Hulkbuster, the big giant Iron Man that little Iron Man goes inside of when he has to fight the Hulk. At the time, Jamie had all these action figures of all the Marvel superheroes and this big giant thing. $3, we'll grab it. We brought it home and all of his action figures fit perfectly inside of it.
Yeah, no, I don't go to Goodwill. I don't believe that I want to be seen with the riffraff. I can't even finish the sentence. I'm sorry.
I did find I actually just went to Goodwill. If you do want to go to a good one, go to the one in Wilsonville. That one is awesome. Has so much good stuff in it. And I went there just a couple days ago and I found it's a little thing of R2D2, like, probably, foot and a half tall or something like that. And he breaks apart into different measuring spoons and measuring cups. And you can like reassemble him and he just sits on your counter, just chilling there. And you can grab, a cup or half a cup or whatever. And it was still in the box. And I sent it to Nicole. I was like, dude, check out what I found. And she was like, dude, I just cleansed that. That's like $75.
Yes, sir.
Rad.
Because it's like a collectible. Pretty cool, actually.
I have a couple cool like Goodwill find stories, but I'm thinking about one in particular. I remember I was in high school and I mentioned Goodwill to someone and he was like, I don't believe in Goodwill. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, think about it. It's this gigantic company that like takes donations and then they sell it all. So why are we donating it to them? Anyways, the way he explained it, I was like, yeah, you're right. And I like got on board with this idea, being pretty transparent with my past self, but like I used to steal stuff a lot. So he would go into Goodwill and like after I knew that, I was like justified it all. I was like, yeah, this place doesn't deserve it. So I remember like stealing like a Nintendo from there, like a Sega Genesis, like multiple video games. I stole Chrono Cross on Super Nintendo from there.
My gosh.
I just went on a rampage. And the karma caught up to me later. So I don't steal anymore, but just had this memory.
Ren, I have to say the most unbelievable thing about that story to me is the fact that you found Chrono Trigger and a Sega Genesis at Goodwill.
Dude, it used to be the Wild West. Like, it's funny. I remember going really young and there was a box of cereal that was like opened and for sale. And I was like, what? They sell like used cereal? And then they used to sell like used underwear. Like it was a little bit different back then. And all of the video game stuff was in like bags on shelves. And they didn't do research to see like how much things were worth. And now everything's behind a glass case because of people like me. So sorry.
Also, they whenever they get donations in, they got people back there who know and put value on things. They scoop up all the really good stuff, and there's actually a website. It's Goodwill Auctions, and that's where they put all those stuff, and they just put it up for auction.
I remember going in there. I used to collect records. I had a really unhealthy record purchasing habit, but I would go into Goodwill, and I remember I found a Japanese pressing of a Nirvana album, and I looked online. It was worth like $120. And I was like, $2.99 for this record, and I sold it like immediately. It was awesome. I was like, dude, it's such a nice find. It's crazy. But now, like, all the record collectors just scourge through every Goodwill. So you have to go like first thing in the morning to find anything nowadays. The well dried up.
Have you ever been to the bins? The Goodwill bins?
I went there last week, actually. I felt like an ant in an anthill.
I remember the first time I went, I stopped in at one just because I was nearby and I had a little time to kill. I didn't know it was a bin store. And so I walked in and I was like, whoa, like, this is really weird. I was like, there's no prices. And someone was like, oh, it's based on weight. I was like, oh, so I'm like picking through stuff and I couldn't really find nothing. And then this big bin comes out of the door and I was like, oh, new stuff. Cool. Start walking up to it and 5 people are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Bro, you know, you see movies where like, you know, it's like, oh, like zombie apocalypse. We just found like a bunch of cans in a store. It was like that. Everyone's just like scrambling and just digging. And some people are just grabbing stuff just to grab.
Dude, when I went last week, people have, I think it's the Amazon app, and they just like scan, throw it in the bin, scan. They just like, they do, I don't know what they do, if they resell everything. I have no idea, but they go after it hard. You have to be a pro.
Yeah, it's pretty
Like unhealthy.
You said it. Definitely unhealthy. Yeah, it's a weird mentality. I don't know what that is. It's a mind virus.
whatever gets you going, I guess.
Got to pay them bills. Well, Scott, I wish you were here just because I have some chocolate here. But since you're not here, I'm eating your share. And I'm definitely not giving any to the kids, so it's mine.
I've got a bag of these Reese's thin.
Oh, they're so good.
Chocolates.
Yeah, dude.
They're the
They're
best.
so good.
It's like peak Reese's right there because it's just like just enough peanut butter to give it the flavor, but not so much that you're like, is this real peanut butter?
Yeah.
You know, like it still feels good.
Yeah.
Was it Jamie had his first moment of buying candy that he really didn't like?
Wait, let me guess. Almond Joy.
No, it wasn't Almond Joy.
Necco wafers.
No, but that's an understandable one.
Those are lame, dude.
Just chalk, pure chalk. No, it was what was funny was he went to the store and he wanted a specific piece of candy. He wanted a Crunch Bar really bad. So he went and got it. And as we're walking up to buy it, he looks next to the register and he's like, "Oh, can I get that instead?" And it was a Toblerone white chocolate.
Oh.
And I was like, "Okay, you can only get one though." He was like, "Oh," he like contemplated. And he's like, "I want the white chocolate one." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So we swapped it out, bought it in the car. He eats one. He's like, "This is really bad." Like, oh, sometimes that happens. And then the whole ride home, he's sitting there just like really just like, I cannot believe what just happened to me. And we get back to the house and he's like, "I didn't like this. So what do we do now?" Called a life lesson, kid. Like, next time we go to the store, you don't get that. And he's like, "Well, we need milk, right? So we can go back." I'm like, no.
That's really funny.
He was like, for the next like hour, he was trying to come up with any reason to go back to the grocery store. He was like, "It doesn't count. I didn't like it."
Speaking on grocery stores, I was thinking about you, Scott. Allie went to the grocery store earlier. I was out and about running some errands. I was like, "Oh, we need Q-tips." So I call her. I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna run to the store. Did you get Q-tips earlier by chance? Because we need those. I'm gonna go grab them." She goes, "No, I didn't." I was like, "All right, cool, bye." And in my head, I'm like, shouldn't have told her I was going to the grocery store. I know she's gonna call me. The second I get there, the doors open and I feel my phone vibrating, and I'm like, "It's Allie." And I look at it's her, and I'm like, "Why are you calling me? Why are you calling me right now?" She's like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Why are you calling me?" Anyways, she's like, "Well, why don't you just tell me where you are?" I was like, "I'm nowhere. Why?" I didn't want to give myself any anxiety. I didn't want to get a laundry list of things that she forgot at the grocery store.
Or the vague ones, like, "Just pick us something up for dinner."
Or if she tells me to get something and she doesn't tell me the brand, I'm like, I am setting myself up for failure. Like, I need to know the brand.
There's nothing I can do. There's no hope.
I tease Allie about this, but she was like, "Just get some ice cream. Whatever you choose. I don't really care." I was like, "Sweet." So I got something. I was like, "Oh, this is like a healthier, like yogurt sort of ice cream." And I brought it home and I opened it up. I was like, "This is delicious." And I like handed it to her and she just stared at it. She literally got back in the car, went to go buy Tillamook ice cream. I was like, "You are such a brat. Like, it's ice cream. And you said to get whatever you wanted." It was really funny.
Lied to me. You lied.
That was the last time I didn't ask for the brand.
The latest one I had was Tillamook lemon bar
Oh, yeah.
one. And it was Incredible. Holy crap.
Say no more.
Got muted himself. And I just want to make sure he knows he's muted or if he did it on purpose. We'll find out.
Yeah, I have children. That's fine.
Oh, that'll do it.
Say no more.
I was just watching the movie in the background.
Getting distracted. Speaking of movies, I have to share something I saw. I saw a short clip going around on social of someone filming the cast, like a behind the scenes. I don't think they knew they were being filmed, of the production of Legend of Zelda. It's being filmed right now in New Zealand.
Oh.
I think we need to say a prayer.
Oh, no. Are you worried?
Hey,
worried?
like, okay, Zelda is sick. Like, I love it, but like when you put it in human form, it looks really nerdy, and I just don't know how it's gonna like transition into like live action. I don't know how. I can't even. I don't know. I'm afraid. I want this to be so cool.
Okay, I like Bob Hoskins' Mario Brothers movie because it's not like Mario. And I don't like the new Mario movie because it feels way too sanitized. It's just like a Mario game, and it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, whatever. And so when it comes to Zelda, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait and see. I like the idea of it,
Oh, me too.
but I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
high hopes, and we'll see what happens.
I think we've talked about this, but like Zelda's gonna be great. Like they'll pull it together, hopefully. What I'm really deep down waiting for is a Metroid movie or that world to be put into film. I just feel like I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. It's like perfect in my mind of how they could make that work, the way it works, the female protagonist. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be incredible once that happens.
Metroid is this weird intellectual property that Nintendo keeps making them because people keep screaming to make them, but they never make a lot of money compared to their Mario Party or a Zelda or something like that. And so Nintendo's like, but you guys don't like it. So why do you care? And
The
so
numbers.
then, so that's why we don't have any more F-Zero games. But why we keep getting a bunch of Donkey Kongs.
I just feel like the crossover of people who aren't interested in Metroid versus people that are interested in Metroid. And then, there's lots of Halo fans and first-person shooters and space. And like, I just feel like Metroid is a conglomeration of all those things. I don't know. I want to speak that into existence one day. I want to see that in the movie theater. I just think it would be incredible.
There are a couple of pretty killer shorts for like fan-made Metroid shorts on YouTube.
Oh, really?
I think one's called like Open Sky or something like that. It's visually stunning. It's super indie, like home project, like depth. This could be a thing. So anyway, I agree with you.
I'm sort of imagining like a Ghost in the Shell mixed with Metroid. Just make Samus just knockout, just hot, just super fine. So probably get Scarlett Johansson as Samus, and you'll be good to go. But
I would say my only requirement for a Metroid Prime movie, I want to have that same moment as when I was playing on the SNES and you die that first time and her like suit explodes and you're like,
damn,
like
yeah,
die again on purpose. Just hold on one second. And you're just, oh my gosh.
Check out the pixels on her.
I remember someone like pointing that out, and I had never noticed. And like when you're young and you're a young boy, like I remember being kind of let down that it was a girl. But now it's like way cooler. It is way cooler that she's female.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine if they just if they make 3 movies that are all Metroid Prime. I think that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of, have you guys seen the Mario 2 trailer?
I did. Yeah, Jamie actually showed it to me.
Yeah.
No, I've been under a rock this week, so nope. But I'll check it out.
It looks cool. I mean, it'll be fun to take my kids to. I think that's the best thing I could say about it. My kids are gonna freaking love it.
Is Yoshi in it?
No.
What?
Rosalina.
Yeah, Baby Bowser.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Baby Bowser, which knocks love. He was like, "Oh, that's Dark Baby Bowser." I was like, "Cool." I didn't even know that. I had the same reaction after I watched it as the first time I watched the first trailer for the first Super Mario movie, and I just looked over at my kids and I was like, "You are so freaking lucky to be growing up in this time." Like seriously,
We wouldn't have gotten anything like this growing up. We got
We got Titan A.E.
Yeah,
That's what we got.
Yeah,
Which is just as good. And honestly, if we're really getting down to brass tacks, but it is nice to see a video game turn into a movie sometimes. But yeah, no, just as good.
So I thought it was funny. Paige was sitting there watching Titan A with us, and like we're all enjoying it and everything. And she's like, "Man, why is it that we always got like the knockoff versions of the movies? We got like knockoff Treasure Planet, and we got like knockoff Disney movies like Secret of Nim and stuff." It's like Don Bluth is knockoff. He's just knockoff
Funny
Disney.
to think about.
Journey to the cutting edge of technology. Titan A.E.
Enemy warships have entered Earth's solar system.
The critics have discovered Titan A.E. is out of this world. It's Star Wars meets The Matrix.
Akima, I can't shake him!
Spectacularly imaginative. Spin Magazine says Titan A.E. is unlike anything you've ever seen. It's heavy metal and Star Wars rolled into one. Blast off on the state-of-the-art thrill ride. It's Titan A.E. Own it on video and DVD.
All right, so a snapshot of Bluth's career between our last film. The release date was in 1989 for All Dogs Go to Heaven, up to today's film, released in the year 2000, Titan A.E. So after All Dogs Go to Heaven, Bluth basically spent the early 90s trying to prove that just because Disney was making musical hits, that his studio didn't have to, thus churning out flops like Rockadoodle, Thumbelina, and the legendary disaster A Troll in Central Park, films that have basically been described as straight-to-video quality, but in theaters. Personally, I haven't seen those movies in a long time, but I remember like unbearable, like I could not watch Thumbelina without just like dying of cringe. I also had a younger sister and maybe a younger brother like singing along to it. So
yeah, my memory is that I did, if I'm recalling correctly, I did enjoy watching Thumbelina when I was a kid. I kind of remember Troll in Central Park, but not enough to even tell you what the story is really about. But I do remember watching Thumbelina.
Yeah, Paige went, "Oh, Troll in Central Park." Ugh.
yeah, that's how
that
I
was
felt.
her reaction.
Yeah.
Gross.
Like I said, the only one that I'd seen was Anastasia, which you're going to get to in a little bit. But I got a little bit of tidbits about those movies. So he was still an island when he was making those. His studio was making all 3 movies at the same time, and his studio was like 360 head strong. So they employed a lot of people, and they were hand-drawn animation is unsustainable, which is why it doesn't exist anymore. And so their studio was just going under and getting more and more in the red. And so eventually their company went bankrupt, and all 3 of their movies went to 2 different companies. The Thumbelina and Trolls went to MGM, and the Penguin movie went to, I think, 20th Century. Anyway, the distribution of those movies to those companies got final edit. And so they did whatever they were going to do and like hack together the story to be different. And so who knows what the director's cut would have been like, but everyone basically agrees that they're all not super awesome. I thought Rockadoodle was an interesting one. It was on my list of one that I wanted to check out because I think it's his most unique sounding movie. They were watching Disney. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was really popular, so they wanted to make a live action movie with animated characters in it. And that's their attempt with Rockadoodle. And it's the only live action movie that Don Bluth directed, and he directed it by chance because the director he hired came out to film for like a few days. And then while he was there, his back started hurting. And he went to the doctor, and it found out he had like terminal cancer, and he had a week to live. So he flew home and died. And so the director was gone, and Bluth was like, "Okay, I guess I'm the director on this." So then he was like directing stunt actors and like child actors and stuff like that, and was like, "I don't even know how to do this." And so anyway, it was one of the ones that was kind of like the underbelly of Don Bluth movies that I wanted to watch. Was Rockadoodle. Yeah, so interesting time period. After that, they went back to the United States. So Ren, take it away.
Well, I just have here, like, ultimately, the studio tanks out against the Disney Renaissance era of the films that are being released. So Fox comes into the picture. They scoop him up, and I guess they were just sort of thinking, like, hey, it's Don Bluth, Gary Goldman. These guys can finally make us some money. And then they actually did with Anastasia in 1997, which is also like, I think we talked about this on the last episode, but like I thought that was a Disney movie my whole life. It has music, like it just has this Disney aura about it, but they speak Russian, which is very par for the course for Don Bluth.
Apparently, yeah.
So
Wow, that's a good point.
so then, for his grand cinematic swan song, he decides it's time to ditch princesses, and he goes for the space opera with Titan A.E., released in the year 2000. An ambitious, expensive CGI spectacle that proved once and for all that while Bluth could still make a visually cool film, he couldn't beat the box office curse, leading to Fox immediately firing everyone and torching the studio 10 days after this movie came out. So
Yeah, no, yeah, I was doing a little research into production of this movie, and it definitely wasn't smooth at all. He actually wasn't even the original director. I didn't get the name of who it was before, but the guy before spent like something like 130 days on it. He spent like $30 million or something like that.
Mhm.
They ended up firing him, and then Don Bluth got the spot, and I believe it was only 9 months that he had or something like that. It was a very short amount of time that he had to get this movie back into production and to get it finished. And they basically had to start from scratch when he got the job.
Yep.
And honestly, like it hurts to say, but it definitely does show in the film, even though I think this film is great. There's definitely some stuff about it that I'm like, yeah, this isn't the cleanest. This isn't the high top-notch stuff that we're used to seeing with Don Bluth, but it's still a good film.
One thing that I thought was super, super interesting about this film was how much they relied on the rotating, sweeping camera pans across the 3D sets and then hand animating, rotating characters on top of those CG sets.
Mhm.
Like, that seems like that was like the gimmick of this movie was the visual spectacle was, can we do like wide live action sweeping camera like movement with hand animation, which is like a bad idea with if you're painting backgrounds, but if your background constantly moves like a Final Fantasy game, then you get to experiment with that. Now I started watching Treasure Planet because the two are always put side by side. And I'm realizing fairly, and they're just both in space around the same time and hand animated, right? Disney with Treasure Planet did not attempt that. They were probably smarter in the long run in that they had really cool CG scenes that were CG, and then they had some CG rendered backgrounds that were static to animate their hand animation characters in, but there wasn't a lot of let's do a 360 rotation around the deck of the ship while three characters are having a fist fight, like they didn't do that nonsense. Like this scene right behind you right now, like this is probably one of the best looking ones, combination of CG and hand animation.
And it's the scene where he was injured, now he's back, now he's on the ship, and they're gonna take care of him and everything. I actually really do like the scene, and it was the one scene I kept watching them rotating and moving everything. I was like, whoa, okay, this is a bit of a flex. Like this is pretty intense for especially around this time. Like props to them for sure.
The most impressive scene to me was that scene where the Drej come in and basically abduct Cale and Akima, and they get separated, and Cale, he literally loses his mind, and he's like grabbing his head and he's screaming because he can't get out of this confined electrical box that he's stuck in. But yeah, like what you said, like the rotating bodies, and there's one where he's like basically in chains with the electricity around his wrists, and just the attention to detail with all of that energy going around his body. I thought that was really impressive. But I gotta say, watching this movie, like it brought up the nostalgia. I remember watching this a lot on home video. But I think ultimately, like it made me sad. Like we've been so spoiled with, like, think of Secret of Nim, the intentionality behind that. The CGI in this movie just like took me out of it. Not completely, but
Really?
but not completely. But like I was just like, dude, there's something missing in this viewing experience. And I really feel, I keep saying it, but intentionality, like the purpose behind it and the time that's spent into it is so apparent to me. Like you can feel it more.
Yeah, it's you can definitely see it in the film. And part of that is definitely because they were under a lot of pressure to get this movie out. Like I said, I think they had about a year to actually finish it and put it out in theaters. I wanted to actually watch it with the director's commentary because Don Bluth actually does the commentary for the film.
Oh, cool.
I couldn't find it, but I did find somebody who took a lot of notes on it. And one thing they were talking about was a lot of the background settings were actually already made and ready to go. Because they were under so much pressure, they couldn't match basically the quality of their characters and everything that was happening on screen to the quality of the background. So what they had to do was they had to redo the backgrounds and actually make them not as crisp and not as good looking because their characters couldn't be as crisp and as good looking as they wanted to be just because of time constraints. And that hurts. Like, honestly, this is one of those movies that I'm like, I want to have somebody take this movie and present it as it should have been, like it feels like
I wrote down the same thing.
That's what I want, because I feel like there's some really, really cool things about this movie. I think it has some weak spots in it, but just time constraints. I really don't think that the weak spots in it were, mistakes by them, or it was, them not being clever enough to make it a better film. I think a lot of it's just time constraint.
Remaster this movie. Redo all the backgrounds, like when they're in the ship and they're using the whatever equipment they're using, it's clunky and it looks like something out of like Crash Bandicoot. Like it looks like PlayStation 1 graphics, which sign of the times, whatever, but like it just felt like a corner was being cut. Yeah. Like it didn't, I don't know, like a giant corner.
Yeah,
it's just corner.
Well, it's also tough just because, like, honestly, like even the scene behind you right now, Ren, even this like star map that Cale's going through and showing like, okay, this is where I think the Titan is. Even that looks really, really, really dang good. The scene, the flex scene for me when they're flying through all those clouds and those like ghost angels are following them, like that looked great. But then like you get to the very end of the film when they're standing on the new planet and it looks so bad. Like it just it looks like a draft animation that they were just like, oh shit, all right, like put it. Okay, that's all we got, Hey everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show. That feels like pretty inconsistent, just in terms of the quality of everything you're seeing. Like it'd be nice if it was just one completed project.
Okay. Animation aside, obviously this was kind of like the redheaded stepchild.
What do you got these redheads, dude? Can you use a different metaphor, please?
I don't like your children, Ren.
You don't like either of them? Cool. Okay, go on. Just had to stick for the redheads.
As far as the movie goes, honestly, like I'd never seen this movie before, and I liked it. Like the progression of directing capability and what was expected in the industry has changed dramatically since the first movie we watched from Don Bluth. Like from there to now, tightness of the pacing, the quality of the scripts, the quality of the voice acting, the music, although there's some great music choices in this movie.
We'll get to it.
I'm just going to put it out there right now. I don't think I can accept any negative comments about the soundtrack. I'm just saying.
Like in general, I just thought that this movie was like weirdly probably my favorite of his movies that we've watched in this deep dive, with all of the flaws. And massive spoiler, but when the main captain like turns out to be a bad guy, I was like, what? Like, don't do that to me. I like you.
You're supposed to be the parent figure. Yeah. You're supposed to be the guy who brings him back to, to bring Cale back into the group and have everything better. But
no, he just used himself as a human circuit. It's cool.
So I've come down on the CGI. There were parts I really liked about it, the way it looked. So there's two things that's coming to mind. In the beginning, the first 5 or 10 minutes where it shows Earth exploding, part's pretty freaking awesome.
The first 5 minutes of this movie are peak. Like, I don't think there's a better part of this movie than those first 5 minutes. Like, I was so hooked.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so epic, so windswept, so like, I was like, this is giving me all the Halo vibes. I mean, it was great. Like Independence Day with the dredge flying around. I mean, I loved the first. It's so good.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, the fact that Earth itself blew up, how often do you see movies where the Earth blows?
The Fifth Element.
And it was so unceremonious. It was just like okay, well, they glassed the planet, it blew up, and then it took out the moon. Like, that was rad.
I was gonna say the moon part was really cool. They're just like dodging these big pieces of Earth flying at them, and one smashes in the moon. I thought that was really cool.
I will say, I'm going to drop my slimiest scene because it's happening right now. When they land on the planet, the red planet with all of the bat people that don't talk, and they're just swarming in and landing next to them like a giant, like, upright swarm of bats. I was like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this kind of thing in a movie. And like, it gave me chills. Like, that was the flex hand animation right there, was this bat swarm colony of, I don't know, the wise people. Like, I loved it. I was like, I want to put this in a book or something somehow and capture this feeling because it was great.
Do you guys know what a Mandelbrot zoom is?
I feel like you've told me, but I can't recall.
Well, there's one scene in this where they're in a ship and they're escaping and it's exploding behind them, and they do a Mandelbrot zoom like coming out of this tunnel. And I was like, okay, that's one thing you can't do with a hand-drawn animation. So I just wanted to, again, throw a prop out to the CGI because it's not all crappy.
Yeah. The thing I thought was a really cool choice was there was a lot of shots when they were in space where it's like, oh no, like the sky's red. Like there was a lot of red in this. Actually, yeah, even the scene that's going on behind you when they go to visit these people. I don't know. It was a nice little artistic decision there. I've seen Don Bluth do a lot of scenes where the main character's in distress or there's some chaotic thing going on and the background's really orange and red and things like that. But for some reason in this film, it doesn't really feel like that. It feels more just like a part of the world and how it looks instead of setting the tone like he usually does.
So I had a memory that I hadn't thought of probably in 25 years come up when I was watching this. But this movie totally, and I know there's other people out there, I don't know if they'll admit it, but did you guys ever draw a star map on your the palm of your hand when you were a kid? Because I definitely did.
Man,
I wish.
did I? And I have a recollection of drawing things on my hand,
totally
but I don't know if it
remember
was a
doing
star map.
I totally remember.
I drew the
Man.
Triforce on my hand a million times, but
well, everyone does that.
I've never done a star
Everyone does
map.
that.
I feel like I missed out. Dang.
You had to be there.
Pretty much. But no, I think this world that they landed on to visit these people is really dang cool. I love the concept of these like gas like plants that are going to blow up. There's two moments in this film that made me go, okay, they're setting something up. When they land on that planet, they're like, oh yeah, these are full of gas and one touch and they'll blow up. And my first thought was like, okay, well, they're going to blow up. Like you can't do that. But the one time they didn't do it, which kills me. So Cale gets on the ship and they meet Goon and he's sitting there and he's fiddling with this little thing he created. And he's like, I made this thing while I was asleep and I don't know. And he's like poking at it and everything. And he goes, and there's a button on it and I want to push it, but I can't. I don't know what it's going to happen. And I was like, okay, I see you, ready for that to save the day, something. And it never comes up again. So mad.
I've got
It never came up.
I've got two things to say about that. The first is I had the exact same thought. I was like, Paige, is this a Deus Ex Machina? They're just like, this is foreshadowing the final key to save or like find the unlock the map or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I don't really remember. But also, that is the absolute best introduction to Goon. Like,
yeah,
it's so perfect.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I really liked Goon as a character. I also liked, I think her name's Stitch, the like kangaroo / raptor character.
She has big legs.
like when they're like faking that they're bringing prisoner in to save Akima, and she just like kicks the crap out of that guard. I was just like, all right, this chick is badass. I really like her.
Have you guys ever seen Manos: The Hands of Fate?
Oh yeah. I think I watched it with you actually.
So it's a terrible B movie. Oftentimes ranked in like the bottom 50 worst films of all time. Like that kind of bad. And it was riffed on by the Mystery Science Theater 3000 crew, and that's where it gained notoriety. But there's a character in there that's supposed to be like a satyr, but he's just like a dude with padded knee pants, and he like stumbles around. His name's Torgo, and they just joked throughout the whole movie. It's like, what kind of villain is he? He just has like big knees. That's all. That's all he's got. Like big knees. All right, just go with it. We're just gonna go with it. Film. So
My
when I
God.
saw Stitch with her big knees, I was like, big knees, go with it.
I had a note on her. I hated that. I hated the triple
She was so
kneecap.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. Matt Damon, his voice as Cale, in my mind, I just envision Goodwill Hunting character. He's just like that, like kind of a smart ass, young, like smarter than everyone else. But I love his voice acting in this movie. I thought it was pretty good.
He has the same haircut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nathan Lane, the voice of
It's Timon, man.
Lieb.
yeah, Timon. But
Yeah.
there's a scene where they split up. They're by those gaseous, like exploding things, and he's back at the ship and he's like shooting at this little bug. And it brought me back to that scene in Mouse Hunt where he's shooting at the mouse with the shotgun.
Oh my
And I was like, dude, he's like typecasting himself in an animated world. That's so funny. So there's two different things like that.
You know, it's funny. Like when you think about Nathan Lane, I feel like you think about a character who's very comedic, who's very, I don't know, funny guy.
Yeah.
I really like him in basically anything he's ever been in. And it was really cool to see him voice a villain and be like this slimy, like terrible guy, honestly. Like he sells like the double cross he pulls off.
Yep.
And what was it? The scene where he slaps that bracelet onto Stitch and is like, "Hey, hold on to this so I can communicate with you." And then he calls them up and is like, and she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, well, tell him I said bye." And then he blows it up and tries to kill them.
Yeah.
I was like, bold,
Evil.
And I see Nathan Lane play more villains because I think he does a really good job.
I have to say, like, especially compared to all, like, literally all of the other Don Bluth movies we watched, I liked all of the characters in this movie, except for Cale, actually, kind of. Like, the whole side cast and everything, like, everyone did a really good job. Everyone carried their roles really well. All the scripts for everyone was just up to the edge of, you know, funny enough without being over the top. It all fit in the world. This movie has so much going for it. Genuinely.
No, I think that in terms of the characters, one complaint I saw actually when I was looking up just Reddit threads about it was people were saying like, "Oh, I just feel like there's too many characters," and I was just like, I liked pretty much everybody in this film. The one thing I do wish is that they were just fleshed out just a little bit more, especially when it comes to like a lot of the backstabbing and the double crossing that happens in this film. I feel like the motivations and why they do it are pretty like just kind of flat. You're just like, oh, you get a bunch of money. It's like, okay, well, like I need just something a little more. Even like the bad guys, the Drej, there's actually a reason why they're doing everything, but they don't explain it in the film that much. You're kind of like, okay, they're just these evil energy beings going around. And I feel like I just wanted a little more out of that, just so I had a little bit of a stronger connection and understanding as to why everything was happening. But no, overall, I did enjoy all the characters.
I think from here on out, I'm going to start calling people evil energy beans.
So there's actually, when this film came out, I believe there was 3 prequel novels actually came out along with it or before it came out, something like that. And I just read just a quick little blip about them. So the Drej feel very just like we're evil and that's it. I guess the novels kind of go over it. There's a couple chapters that are from their perspective. And the idea is that they're like, wait, hold on. The humans have this planet creating machine that needs a ton of energy in order to create the planet. And we're made of energy. So kind of the thought idea was like, wait, if they have this technology, they can kill and wipe us out. So we need to wipe them out. And like when you're watching the movie, like maybe you can kind of conclude that because that's how the ending happens. They're like, sweet, all these, you know, Protoss Drej characters are here. And they could just kind of like suck them down and that gives them the energy to create the planet.
Interesting. Yeah. Also, I just want to give a shout out to transmedia marketing campaigns. I have a soft spot for those. I really like that.
What do you mean?
When a media comes out and, you know, you market it in a whole bunch of different ways, like writing novels or you make a side video game or whatever. Like when Tron Legacy came out, there was the Flynn Lives campaign. When Halo 2 came out, there was the I Love Bees alternate reality game that gave people all these like USB keys with like trailers and extra stuff. And obviously like Pokemon is a huge transmedia intellectual property. Like there was the TV show, the games, the cards, the books, the mangas, you know, all this kind of stuff all released all at the same time in conjunction with each other that just captured all of these different segments of the market and brought them under one giant umbrella, and that's why we have this like tentpole Pokemon that's been around since like 96 and will never die. They established what they were because they knew what they wanted to be in the first place. And anyway, I think it's a really fascinating marketing technique. It's kind of what me and Paige are doing with her novels with the limited resources we have. And I just love it. I love it when movies are marketed with side books and stuff like that.
There was supposed to be a video game of this. This movie didn't do good in theaters. If I remember correctly, it lost like $100 million or something like that. And like we've talked about, like this was the last film that Fox Animated Studios basically put out, and after that, everyone was axed. It was gone.
Also, Pixar took over the world, so everything was CG from then on. And Don Bluth, this is the last movie Don Bluth did. Like this was the end of his career.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe so. What was it? I was flipping through Reddit comments and just kind of see what everyone's thinking about it. And one guy posted, he was like, I actually got to talk to Gary Goldman, who was a big part of this film. And I asked him how he felt about Titan A.E. and like where they went wrong, basically. And one thing that he mentioned, he was like, I think what we were doing is we didn't understand the audience that we were shooting for this film, because it's not a kid's film. Like there's violence, there's people getting shot, like, and it's a little bit more of a serious tone, but it's like, but we can't really do that to adults because you can't market this to adults because, back in the 2000s, there was kind of this vibe of like, oh, like, cartoons and animation that's for kids, like adults don't watch that unless it's like super crude, like South Park episodes, basically. And so what he told him was like, yeah, we were trying to get 11 to like 14-year-old boys to be excited about this. But that's the age where usually boys, especially back then, were just like, oh, that's for kids. Like, I don't watch animated stuff. It was one thing that he kind of cited as a problem as to why this film wasn't successful, because they just didn't exactly know where to market it. What was it? Somebody said they're like, yeah, I put in my VHS of this not too long ago, and there's a commercial for, I think it was the new X-Men movie that was coming out. And then right after that, there was a commercial for Digimon. Like, on the same VHS tape. So it's like, okay, there's even confusion as to, they didn't even know what they were trying to do when this film got put out.
I'm so grateful that I was the age that I was when this came out. I'm right in that sweet spot of the demographic they were marketing to. And it was a really cool time. Yeah, like you said, it was like, I'm kind of growing out of cartoons, but I was like, well, this one doesn't count because this one's like for grown-ups, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's unnecessary nudity, which is awesome too,
we haven't had our unnecessary nudity meter for a while.
I never thought I would say that in a Don Bluth movie. This is very unnecessary.
Both characters.
Doing these deep dives is really fun because you just get so used to this, to Don Bluth stuff. And then Titan A.E. comes out, and every time someone got shot and actually got shot and blood came out, I was like, different. You see Cale's butt and you're like, whoa. Yeah. Or like, and then he walks in on Akima and she's just got that perfectly timed towel to cover herself. And she's like, oh, do you want to come in or stay out?
Yeah. And then you see the silhouette.
What is this?
Pretty awesome.
I mean, I definitely appreciated it, honestly. Like when, what was it? Yeah. They figure out that they're getting backstabbed. They're going on to that, like, that drifter colony, and then Akima gets shot. Like, it goes like right through her. Yeah. Like, and you see it all happen. And like when they get shot when they're in space, the blood like comes out and it's floating in the air. Like, I appreciated it. Just, I don't know. Like I said, we're just not used to seeing that, in Secrets of Nim. Well, I guess there's a little blood in Secrets of Nim, but
the pacing of this movie, you mentioned that earlier, Scott, but also like the Save the Cat formula in this movie was like formulaic. Like almost to a fault, not quite, but like I was like, this is no other Don Bluth movie is structured like this, and it's really good, but it just kind of falls short. I'm assuming just because the CGI and production was like a little rushed. A tale as old as time for Mr. Don Bluth. Does he just have like the worst luck ever? Like every movie, it's like the same story over and over. Like some nightmare situation, or they're short, or they don't have money. It's one of those three things.
In his book, he was like, the one thing that I know I have is perseverance. I don't know if I've got anything else, but perseverance for sure.
But that's what I do got.
That goes a long way.
No, I agree that I actually am going to say that this movie does follow the Save the Cat structure to a fault. I feel like I was watching it and I was just like, boom, there's the next point. Boom, I know what's going to happen next. And it feel very formulaic. I feel like it's weird to say, but in terms of the story and how the plot goes, I feel like this is the safest movie that Don Bluth has ever put out.
Agreed.
It doesn't, because like Secrets of Nim felt so like just different. It felt so him and very like, I'm gonna do this. I know it doesn't follow this formula, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And this movie felt like, fill in the blank and hit all the beats that you need to hit and everything. And I think the combination of it being formulaic and having the characters just not having a ton of time to be fleshed out does harm the movie in a way, but I still love it.
Oh man, I'm so glad that you brought this up. Okay, so I've had this like existential crisis the past couple of episodes of trying to figure out pacing and storytelling structures and stuff like that. And I think that you absolutely nail it, Harrison. Like this movie has so much flavor, but it has so much less soul. Whereas like Secret of Nim is like the exact opposite. Like it's like the opposite side. The flavor is like messy. Gosh, it has so much soul. In fact, Dodge just watched Secret of Nim again like the other day. It was playing in the other room, and I just came in and out of it, and I was like, I like this movie. I like The Secret of Nim a lot. And even the dumb crow character didn't bother me as much when I was watching it, knowing what was coming. Like he was just the idiot. So one thing that he talks about in his book was when you start a movie, you pick who's the hero, who's the villain, and who's the clown. And I was like, oh, well, if that's the way you're thinking about it, obviously that makes sense why you have such a prominent clown in all of your movies, right? And even Anastasia, it was like, who's your hero? You got Anastasia. Who's your villain? And he's like, well, it's this zombie Rasputin. And who's the clown? It's the little bat,
Bartok.
Yeah, Bartok. I'm gonna kick her, sir. In this movie, it was like the clown was toned way down. They're really like, is Goon the clown? Is Nathan Lane the clown? Like, I'm not really sure. Like,
I'd say Goon is probably the clown.
On the same topic we're talking about, like the fun and games part of the movie when they're like kind of chasing those ghosts, and it's just like this fun part of the movie, but it felt like it was just there to like serve the purpose of this formula, which I don't want to beat that too far into the ground, but like I like that part, but I was like, it feels like it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel Don Bluth. It feels McDonald's or something.
Like it felt like a music video. That's what it felt like for me. I mean, honestly, when this scene came on, like I guess kind of a bonding moment between Cale and Corso, but it's not really the main focus of it. And there was a handful of scenes in this movie that's like, okay, could have been cleaner. If that whole scene was gone, like it wouldn't really affect the story. The other one was when Akima and Cale, they get caught by the dredge, and then she gets jettisoned out, and then Cale leaves. It's never fun to talk negative about somebody, but I feel like one thing, Don Bluth has some really great stories, and I think he's got guts. Great animator, but I don't think he has a very strong ability to plot a movie and have it flow very well. I think that's his one weakness that he just can't do very well. Like, because it's the same thing with like American Tail. Like there's scenes in that where it's just like, okay, like off the path now. We're doing all these like side quests that doesn't really matter, or they're not lined up in a way where it makes the story extremely cohesive. It was terrible in Titan A.E, but there's definitely moments where you're like, just you could tighten this up and make it better. And production pressure aside.
So I agree with everything you said. I also want to say, so my wife's book is about to be released within the next week or so. And Harrison, you've read this book. It's a complex book that shouldn't be complex, right? There's just like lots of layers. There are multiple side stories that really, really matter for the climax. Like 4 of them. 4 really, really in-depth side stories that just absolutely matter for the climax. And the reason it's taken us so long to get this book out is exactly what you're talking about, Harrison. It's like, how do we include these things that matter without them feeling like side stories? And how do we include them so that they matter? So that people actually care, that it does feel integrated and part of the whole, when you have to talk about like one story thread at a time. Eventually it's kind of like, well, the story is just going to be what it's going to be, or we're going to scrap it and start over. We did that so many times that it's like, I just understand how difficult it is to plot a movie that has so much depth. Like you're talking about all these backstories and stuff. And this movie was in production for years and burned through $30 million. And like, think of the creative people at 20th Century Fox that were just full-time working on making this world that this movie could be in as fleshed out as possible. And then all you can tell is like 1/5 of that, or 5% of that, even, some infinitesimally small number compared to all of the creative braining that was done on this thing in the first place. I agree with what you said earlier. Both of you guys said earlier, this movie is simultaneously like this masterpiece, and it's so sad. It's so sad because it's not what it could have been in a different timeline. Like, it's not even like blame it on any one person or 5 people or whatever. It's just timing, circumstance, technology, the people, the confluence, the money, the economy. Like, it was just a weird time for this particular movie to just be messy when it could have been amazing.
Yeah, truly end of an era.
Yeah, good. It has good bones.
Mhm.
It has really good bones, a good setup. It just needed more time to cook, basically.
It just got caught up in the awkwardness of the year 2000. So speaking of, so I have the most 2000 thing about this movie I thought was really funny. Well, 2 things. The cover has the website for TitanAE.com on the front. And I remember...
Perfect.
Yeah, I was like, I remember like wanting to go to that website. That's really funny. Maybe we didn't have a dial-up at the time. I don't remember. And then one of the other things is I was looking at like trailers for this movie, and I totally remember in the trailer they had a Creed song in the trailer,
Yep.
but that song is not in the movie, probably for budgeting reasons. Why did they put that? But every song in the movie sounds like Creed. So it's like this pocket of like
2000s
music genre.
like
Yeah, it's like it's not quite grunge. It's like alternative, like trying to be edgy rock. I don't know what it is, but
pre-alt rock. I don't even know.
it's like bad Christian rock, but it's not Christian. It's just bad. It's just, yeah.
Okay. Which song is stuck with you for this movie? Because
The
I'm
one.
telling you, every single one is a banger. And I'm having a hard time picking one right now. I'm not gonna.
Probably the one where they're fixing up the ship to fly to the ice area.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that I was like, I just kept noticing. I was like, oh, it's still playing. Oh,
So-
it's happening.
I have a playlist on my phone called Embarrassing Guilt. And on the way home from our trip at the beach, I was riding with our brother Cam and sister Talia and Ammon. And we just had it on shuffle. And we were just like laughing and commenting on all these songs. And then Over My Head by Lit came on, and Cameron like almost crashed the car. He was like, oh my God. He's like, dude, this song, like, I love this song. And then like a song or two later, Cosmic Castaway song played.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was
It's
like, yeah,
so
dude.
good.
Or this soundtrack was pretty cool at the time, for sure.
So
Yeah, no.
I want to say that I thought in world it was really funny for them to be playing those songs. If you think about it, this movie was set in like the year 3000 or something like that. So they're
3028 or something.
They're listening to music that's 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about it. I
Cool.
was like, okay, would I go out and work on my car while listening to Gregorian chant? And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, if it was the Halo theme, I might. They're over
That's
there.
really funny.
"Kyrie
Yeah.
Domine."
I think mine is a Renegade Survivor. I think that's the one that really.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Renegade Survivor.
So punk.
So good though.
Space punk. I want to give some props to the story, like the character development of Cale in one area. And maybe this will open up a discussion, maybe not. But I really liked how he's like the reluctant hero. In the beginning, he's obviously separated from his father. And then as time goes by, he becomes really cynical about his dad. And then there's a scene where Corso is kind of like, no, dude, your dad, like, he just kind of like builds up his dad and tells him the truth that he didn't like abandon him. Like, he sacrificed himself and he was doing the right thing. And then there's a part where he's on that planet with those creepy red bat characters.
The Gowl.
Yeah, the gal. And he puts his hand up and it lights up And then there's this moment where he's just like, my dad must have stood right here where I am. And he like kind of becomes not romantic, but like he's just kind of like, whoa. He's like, my dad was right here. And it totally changes. And he's talking to someone. He's like, you know what? I'm going to show you how much like my father I really am. I'll leave. So he was holding this resentment towards his dad. But as the movie goes on, he realizes his dad was awesome. And his dad was just doing the right thing. Crap happens sometimes, but that's just kind of how it all happened. I thought that was nice.
No, I totally agree because yeah, he is kind of the cynical person throughout the whole first half of the film, and part of the reason is doesn't have any connection to his dad. He doesn't have like a sentimental. Well, I guess he has the ring. I feel like he doesn't even really care about that much. Like when they end up finding Titan and they go inside and he finds the toy he had when he was a kid. That I feel like that was kind of the moment where he picked up. He's like, whoa. Like, my dad kept this throughout this whole thing. Like, I love that he's like regaining this love for his dad as the film is going on. And it even like opens up to his heart, even to the situation of like humans in this world that's been created is they're the minority. Humans are the ones that are living in drifting colonies. Like they're the bottom of the barrel, in this world right now. And I feel like the first half of the film, he's just kind of like, yeah, it's just the way it is. Like, we can't do anything about it. Who gives a crap? Like, let's just try and survive. And then when he ends up on that drifter colony after Akima gets shot and she sees those kids playing soccer, and he gets that photo from that one guy, and he's like, yeah, our dad used to play soccer. Shows it to him, and he's like, oh, like, we can hold on to who we are. And I don't know, some decent development throughout the film, softening his heart and realizing what is possible if they can achieve this, really this great act of creating a planet through Titan.
I wanted to say I don't really love that part of the movie where they're on that like drifter planet, but I really like it. Kind of like struck me when they talk about the grass, because I was like, oh yeah, like there's no grass anywhere. Like that is solely dedicated to a planet. There's no artificial grass, anywhere.
Ironically, there's no grass on Planet Bob either because the technology couldn't render it very well.
So true.
Well, that's what it
Planet
was.
Bob. No grass on Planet Bob.
I will say I got kind of like a Noah's Ark kind of vibe from the Titan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, with the DNA. Yeah. I wanted to say too, like on that drifter planet, they're mostly like Asian, and I kind of like the choice of that because the culture, like Chinese culture, is so deeply rooted. And it was believable to me that like after all these thousands of years, that culture would still exist. I thought that was kind of cool. And then later in the end, when Planet Bob is formed, Titan A.E. creates the planet, it shows them being transported to that. And I was like, oh, it's in good hands.
Yeah.
Some culture is going to be injected into that planet and it'll be a little bit more like Earth.
All right, Scott, I need you to help me remember something because you quoted this in his book. So one thing I noticed about this film, it's a similar kind of basic storyline as American Tail. It's, humans are being displaced from the planet. They have to move to somewhere else. There was a very mini version of that in Secrets of NIMH. They're trying to leave the farm and go somewhere else so they can be independent. And I feel like I remember you telling me that Don Bluth, there was a quote by Don Bluth, or he said something about like, yeah, moving's really tough for me because you lose your friends, you lose everything you've established or something like that. I think he has this sort of fascination about that type of story.
Yeah, absolutely. He was talking about how moving away from different areas is a lot like animating. Like you create this thing, you put your heart and soul into it, and then when you move on, it's gone. You don't come back and visit those friends anymore, not because you don't love them, but it's because that movie's done. It's because you go to other careers. It's because someone gets married. It's because someone grows up, getting a little, philosophical or existential here. We all kind of have that thing that, I don't know, you feel a sort of sadness about the reality of life. And, I see things like your dad takes photographs so often, and you can tell the memories of people really matter to him. When he feels down, he just goes and looks through those photos to feel better, stuff like that. I'm not going to share mine because it's too vulnerable and whatever, but we've all got those things. I'm watching you guys nod. But I wonder why in particular that's so powerful for Don Bluth, right?
I mean, it just must have affected him in a big way in some sort. I mean, it didn't sound like he moved around a ton in his lifetime.
He did. He moved around several times when he was younger, and then back and forth as then he went on his mission, and then he came back, and then he went back and forth between Utah and California a couple of times. He got a degree at BYU, but worked at Disney. Then he went to Ireland, and he came back, and he's been in Scottsdale basically the whole second half of his life. Scottsdale, just a suburb of Phoenix. You know, one interesting anecdote, we've been talking about this rivalry between Don Bluth, his studio, and Disney for so long, for an entire month now. But at the end of his autobiography, post all this stuff, like maybe 10 years ago or so, he was invited to go walk through Disney. And so it was like his old stomping grounds, the same office and stuff. And he walked in, and like everybody was just so friendly and so cordial. And like so many of the animators, the young animators at Disney were like, I grew up watching your movies, and that's why I wanted to be an animator. And now they're at Disney, you know. And even like his old rivals, it was like water under the bridge. It was just like seeing old friends and going and seeing the cells of movies that he'd worked on, and older, like the Snow Whites and things like that. And it was, I don't know, it was a really bittersweet, like, if you can get over, and it seems like Bluth was really good at this, like he did not have the malice and the business, like ruthlessness that Disney had towards him. Like he really just wanted to make good movies. You know, it was constantly thrown at him, and any normal human would feel really resentful about that. That like, I'm just trying to keep traditional animation alive, and you're trying to crush me. Like, why are you doing that? Like, would be such a natural response. And it didn't seem to really affect him, because he didn't really talk about it much in his autobiography. He talked about all these other side things, but like it was facts of life rather than like resentment emotionally. I just love that about Don Bluth. And it's I think the thing that I've taken away the most watching these movies is like, I've got these weird love-hate relationship with these movies. Like they're all weird in some way. They're all not as good as they could be in some way. And it's so easy to see the flaws in these movies, but it's also really easy to see the soul in these movies. And the soul is so strong in all of his movies. And the fact that he just kept going, I think, is the most inspiring thing to me. Like he's just a normal dude that really cared about his craft. Like you said, Harrison, when we started this, like he just wanted to do what he loved, and he made it happen. And man, like how inspiring to just keep going, even when everything else is going wrong.
It really is beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool when someone, obviously Don Bluth, realized he had a passion for it, he has the talent for it, and he had the ambition, like you said earlier, Scott, how he kind of acknowledges that. And when you see someone go for it, like you can't hold back. You got to freaking go for it. So I think Don Bluth knows his strengths and his weaknesses. I'm just really glad he had the balls to do that. Like to leave his childhood dream employer, Disney, to do his own thing. And because he did that, he pushed storytelling a little bit further than what it would have been otherwise. And then it also made the competition sharper too. It just, I don't know. I think that's really inspiring. It's really cool that he did that. It's been interesting doing this because like there hasn't been one movie where I'm just like life-changing. I was floating by the end. I loved everything. It was a perfect film. We just haven't run into that, but my admiration for him just keeps growing. So there is one thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if this is a plot hole or what, but there's a point where Cale takes his ring off finally, or I think Goon like just takes it off his finger, and then he kind of turns it and he looks on the inside and there's these buttons. Are we to believe that Cale never took the ring off even once? Even when he got the ring when he was a child, and now he's, 10 years later, 15 years later.
It grew with him.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
His ring looks almost exactly like so Paige has got this like sleep tracking ring.
Yeah.
And it just hooks up via Bluetooth to a phone and you charge it, but it doesn't have like a screen on it or anything. And the little like devices on the inside of that ring look exactly like the device on the inside of Cale's ring.
That's awesome.
And my kids were like, "Hey, Mom, he's got your ring." So maybe all rings are just little computers in the future. That's my headcanon.
There was one other thing in the ending that I thought was kind of brilliant, and I don't know if they overtly say this or if it's just part of it, but in the last scene when they're like in the House of Mirrors and they're seeing each other's reflections and all the shards of ice floating in space, and they're kind of playing that game of cat and mouse. When they activate Titan A.E, it kind of like sucks everything in, and I'm wondering, are those ice shards? That must have been why they hid Titan A.E in the water, because the water needed to be provided for the planet to grow. But then also, but also, did they need the dredge to be there to combine the energy and the water to make Titan A.E work? I was kind of hazy on that, but I was seeing if you guys had nerded out and thought about that like I did.
My only thought was, what are the chances that they're in the perfect distance away from a sun to be able to like stay in orbit and be warm enough and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna ignore that because I like this movie.
Yeah.
That's as far as I got.
Also,
Yeah.
another nitpick, there's no moon. So there's not going to be any waves on this planet. Just little things like that. But yeah, I just got to suspend my belief a little bit. But
Not everyone's Christopher Nolan when they're scripting out a movie, man.
yeah. Yeah.
You can't. We can't be all that cool.
But yeah, the CGI of Planet Bob was there's no excuses. It was just not good.
Yeah, no,
It reminded me of I think I said Crash Bandicoot earlier, but it's more like Perfect Dark. That
I was thinking Final Fantasy VII FMV like rendered
yeah,
videos
okay, yeah, there you go.
with the weapons like come out of the ground and they're just like textured with that like obviously
my
like
gosh.
repeated texture, and the ground behind them is just like a big rounded like piece of dirt or whatever.
I want to play that so bad now.
Yeah, here I'll just start cruising through what I got. I like the connection to American Tail. I liked how innocent Cale was when they were evacuating. Really didn't comprehend what was really happening. He was just like, "Okay, great. Like, I guess we're all going to these ships. This is going to be amazing." And it just reminded me of Feifel getting onto the boat to head to America, and he was just like, "See you guys, excited for my next adventure." And it's like, you get it.
Yeah.
I think
That one hit me. I've got a 4-year-old who is oblivious to stuff like that. And I imagine he'd be like that because I think Cale's supposed to be 5 in the opening scene. Assuming he's 20, throughout the movie, he's supposed to be 5 in the opening scene. So I was just watching my little kid, just imagining being like, "Hey, little man, I'm never gonna see you again. Be good to your mom. Peace." Like, I don't know. That hit me pretty hard.
As long as you keep this ring on, we have a chance.
pretty much. I also like look, I know it's just a movie, but the scaling was just a little bit off. Like when the Earth blew up and they like reached the moon within like 10 seconds, I was like, just feel like it took longer for them to get to the moon. I don't know. It
That
just didn't hit me
also
right.
made me think of Final Fantasy VII with Sephiroth's summon blasting through the planets. Dang it.
Yeah.
So another Don Bluthism in this film. I am fully convinced of this. Okay, I don't think anyone can stop me from believing this. Plebe, the Nathan Lane's character who double backstabs them. Did you guys notice how giant his mouth was?
Yeah.
It was huge.
His teeth.
I couldn't believe it. And literally, so I'm watching the movie. I watched this when I was a kid, but I couldn't remember. I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure someone backstabs somebody. Like there's some type of double cross. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, his mouth is giant. It's probably this guy. I feel like Don Bluth is like, oh, that's a bad guy? Big mouth.
Forgot to mention my favorite animation. I don't know how I forgot this, but my favorite part was where he's contained in that locked room, and then he tries to get out and he gets like electrocuted and shot back. And then he does that finger thing where he puts his fingers together and then he like pulls it open. That was really that was like really original. I thought that was really cool how they whoever thought of that. They pulled that off really well. That was cool.
Okay, so I noticed, I think in every single movie that we watched, that there is an electric generator that sparks
Oh yeah.
And I think it's the same generator in every movie. So in this movie, it's
There's a
the
connection.
it's the gravity generator, and they hit it with a wrench, and then it goes and sparks
yeah.
go all over it. In All
Mhm.
Dogs Go to Heaven, there's a generator that gets covered in oil. It sparks, and then it catches on fire, and that's when Anne Marie gets sick in the water. That generator, I believe, is in Secret of Nim. The rats
Or
have it underground.
yeah.
But anyway, it's
Mm.
definitely like I feel like I want to find that generator in every single Don Bluth movie now. Like that's my theory.
Cockroach cook who like runs up to the generator, smacks it, and he's like, "Yeah, just needed some love," and now it's working. For some reason, I don't know where I got this from, but when he showed up, I was like, "Oh, he's around." Like he like joins the crew or something, I think.
Mm.
And I was thinking about it, and then he gets absolutely bug splatted against the wall.
Yeah.
And his dentures like fall on the ground. Yeah.
And that I think that was someone gets shot before that, but that was definitely probably one of the most violent things Don Bluth ever put in one of his movies, honestly.
How triggered were you when you found out that Drew Barrymore voiced an Asian character?
Oh boy.
I did not even comprehend that it was an Asian character because it
Dude.
was Drew Barrymore.
I was so
my God.
mad when I found. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you know what's funny? What was I just read this really briefly, but Drew Barrymore, it's this movie. There's another one of her movies that she listed. She's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been in. Pretty funny. Also, I'm gonna say this: the Gowl were metal as hell. Like I thought they were super cool. Those bat, those like winged creatures that they met.
Mhm. I got a note here. Akima, her hair is Anna Marie's haircut from All Dogs Go to Heaven, just with a purple highlight in the front.
Which, by the way, that purple highlight apparently it's a Asian movie trope. Apparently there's lots of Asian characters that are like black hair, purple streak.
All right, let's tackle slimiest scenes, give it a rating, and then I wanna give a little send off to Don Bluth before we pick our movies.
So I mean, I feel like we're wrapping up Titan A.E and we're wrapping up Don Bluth at the same time. So this movie, man, this is tough to rate for me, honestly, because I have the nostalgic of it creeping in. I also think the film does have problems, but the problems I really attribute to the pressure of the studio on them. So I feel like this movie just feels unfinished. I feel like it just be so much more. When people come up and ask me about it, I'm definitely going to tell them like, you need to watch it. But like, so I'm going to rate it high, even though I think it has problems. So I think I'm going to put it at a 4 and feel pretty good about that. Like I said, there's definitely, I want more character development. I wanted it to look just a little cleaner, a little more tidied up, but that's not what we got. I feel like this movie has really strong bones and it's worthy of a 4 rating. In terms of like my slimiest scene, kind of tough for me, honestly. Like this movie, it might be them flying through the clouds with those angels in the music video moment. I know it doesn't have any bearing on the story at all. It was just kind of I don't know, like it got to it and I'm just rocking out with the music. It's gorgeous looking. And it was just kind of this peace moment in the film that I enjoyed. It didn't take me out or make me go, oh my gosh, like let's get back to the story. It was positioned really nice.
I think the first opening 5 to 10 minutes of this movie is like incredible. I kind of mentioned that scene where he's in the energy room and he opens it with his fingers. I thought that was amazing. There was also just a lot. We didn't talk a ton about Corso, but I really like the development of the bad guy in this movie because he comes, he's friends with the dad and then he becomes friends with Cale. He kind of talks up his dad. They're on this mission. And then out of nowhere, you kind of realize that he has this plan. But then in the end, he sacrifices himself for the betterment of the whole mission. I thought that was really cool.
I gotta say, there's an interesting parallel between the Secret of Nim villain and Corso in this movie, because in Secret of Nim, the Jenner, the rat, goes, "If there's anything I learned, it's you take what you can when you can get it," or something like that. And then Justin's like, "Then you've learned nothing," and they start a sword fight. It's great, super corny, great line.
Yeah.
In this movie, it was a similar thing. Corso's like, "I learned you just take what you can get while you can get it, because this is all we've got. Like life sucks and then you die."
Mhm.
But instead of getting killed in the sword fight, he sacrifices himself, becomes a
Yeah.
giant circuit breaker, and channels the dredge into Planet Bob.
It's crazy how many different elements from other films I felt in this movie. Like The Ring is Lord of the Rings, there's Star Wars, there's Star Trek, and then everything else that we've said, there's even like it just feels very Bluthy like throughout this movie. But rating this is I agree, Harrison. This is really hard to rate. I initially want to give it like a 2.5, which I'm even surprised to say because of how like fondly I remembered this movie before we watched it for this. I'm gonna give it a 3. It's very flawed, and it's also like
Mhm.
really awesome. So
Yeah.
it's hard to rate it, but I just I wish we had this alternate universe of where Don Bluth put his heart and soul into a movie. He has final cut. He has no issues going on behind the scenes with production or budget issues or taking over from another director. And I just wish someone would have just let him do his freaking thing. And it frustrates me that we don't really have a good example of that in any of his movies. And I don't think that he's someone who makes excuses because
Mhm.
this just like common knowledge as to like what went wrong behind the scenes just from word of mouth and books being written and stuff over time. But like I wonder I wish I knew what that movie was like cuz it'd probably be his greatest film. It would just be like the one shiny film of his filmography that we could all point to.
I'll shout out to Anastasia. I mean, it's probably as close as we're gonna get. Anastasia's a really good movie. It's got flaws too. It's Bluthy, but I mean, he had all the budget, all the right people, and he had the creative freedom with committee and resources to pull it off. Like, I think that's probably as close as we'd get. Though
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't a
agree.
mouse movie, and he was already stepping out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
True.
Well, go ahead, Scott. Let us know your slimiest scene in your ratings.
Man, I'm gonna give it a 3. Um, uh, man, I've talked about all the reasons. Like, it's really flawed. It has less soul than his other movies and stuff like that. But it's a more modern. It's a tighter movie. If I'm trying to be objective about it, like this movie didn't impact me the way that like watching Secret of Nim did, but I enjoyed it the whole time,
Yeah.
like and there's something to be said about just going like, dang, that was a fun movie. And it wasn't like fun romp style left nothing in my soul. It was like I enjoyed it. Like um I've been every year for my anniversary we play a Halo game. We played Halo 3 yesterday evening for hours. It was great.
Nice.
And this time period of sci-fi is really great. It gave me really strong like Firefly vibes, which is funny. You watch the credits, Joss Whedon was one of the writers or producers on this movie who went and created Firefly like 2 years later. So
Ah.
I
Funny.
don't even know, but I'm
Mhm.
sure there's a story there. If we ever Joss Whedon, we'll probably find that one out. But
Deep dive.
um, yeah, so I think the other slimy scene that kind of stuck out to me was when Corso starts railing on like his big reveal, and he's just mad, and he's telling them, he's monologuing to everybody. It's this like straight shot of his face, a background, and he's just ranting at the camera. And I was like, okay, bold choice. Like, we're just gonna do a headshot of this guy yelling, and this is hand animation to convey that emotion and stuff. And it was like 90% good. Like, I was really impressed with that particular shot. It also reminded me of the like 3DO Zelda games with the really, really weird Russian animation and stuff, and it's like freaky. So that was kind of funny
Mhm.
too, because he kind of moved in a similar way to those, though not as exaggerated. Um, I did want to say like what happened to Don Bluth post 2000, this movie being released, is he kind of tried to get a bunch of movies up and going, but he didn't have the studio backing. He didn't have the skills to go into 3D animation, which was a dying, is a mostly a dead industry art form now, and it's kind of like auteur kind of hand animation is what exists today, but nothing on a large scale. The most recent one was Princess and the Frog, and that was mostly a throwback on purpose, you know, to just capture that old magic at Disney. But Don Bluth owns 100% of the rights due to a bunch of legal quirks. He owns the rights to Dragon's Lair. And he is currently 87, living in Scottsdale, Arizona. He runs a local theater, like theater in the round. Bluth Theaters, like Don Bluth Theater or something like that. And he just does he just hires actors and it's like his little passion thing that he's been doing in his quote unquote retirement. But he just kind of like scrappy. He doesn't stop. He just still persistent, so much perseverance, and he just keeps going and going and going. There's a Dragon's Lair movie that's been in the works for a while. It's still going in pre-production, produced by Netflix, directed by the folks that worked on I don't know, like big How to Train Your Dragon and stuff like that. Like people are helping this Dragon's Lair movie. It's supposed to be live action with Ryan Reynolds as Dirk the Daring, which I think is actually a pretty decent casting choice for that. And he teaches animation online. He's got like an animation class. So if you want to learn basics of animation and advanced classes, like go learn from one of the masters, one of the 10 old men. I'll group him into the original Disney crew, even if no one else does.
I do.
Pretty much.
Well, that's awesome. Well, dude, this is the end of our Don Bluth deep dive.
It is.
It was a lot of fun.
It is. I had a great time. Yeah, I had a great time. I'm excited for the next time we do a deep dive. It's going to be great.
Well, speaking of deep dives, we're done with this one, and I think it's time that we need to look forward to the future, and we need to do a movie drawing right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Here's what we got to do first, though. You got to take the bottom movie on your list and throw it off the boat. Ren, what's yours?
Okay, hold on.
Let's do it. Good challenge. Good challenge. Well, here, let's jump through it real quick. So our next theme that we're going to be doing for the next 4 films we're going to be discussing is the team, and this ended up being one of my themes, and I'm excited to jump into it. I kind of like the idea of I know, right? I like the idea of just like, you know, get the band back together. Let's get everyone together. We need we need people with specific skills in order to achieve this. And I thought it was interesting. I was going through making my list, and I found like all these different categories that the team kind of lands in most of the time. You got like heist films, you have superheroes, you got sports, of saving the world. You got, you know, just things like that. It was kind of interesting to look, especially heist. Heist is a really big one, very popular one. So I just thought it was just kind of cool being able to see like, oh, there's like these categories within the team that is very popular that fit within that mold.
Yeah, this wasn't a hard category to find good movies in.
I'm excited for people to have problems with these team movies of having too many people.
Okay, wait, hold on, Scott. You're throwing me a curveball. So you're saying you want to take off our least favorite out of the 5, so we only have 4? Because I'm totally open to this, but I just want to clarify what you're asking.
Yep. And it's not. I wouldn't even say least favorite. Like if you were on a boat and you needed to throw one of your movies off to keep the boat afloat, what would it be?
Okay, so so should I go through my list?
Yeah, why don't you go through yours?
Okay, my list is Heat from 1995, 1917 from 2019, The Wild Bunch, 1969, M, 1931, and The Right Stuff from 1983. So out of those 5, I'm going to take off, I don't know why, I've heard it's incredible, but I kind of want to watch the other ones more than this, but I'm going to remove The Wild Bunch. So that leaves Heat, 1917, M, and The Right Stuff. My final answer.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Final answer, set in stone. Okay. Is there anything specific about those films you want to tell us before I hit this button?
2 of them I've never seen. 2 of the other ones are some of my favorite films ever, and I just think I would love to discuss and talk about them with you guys. And that's That's kind of my teaser. Nothing exciting, but you guys haven't seen 1917, correct?
Correct.
No,
All right. Just
yeah, Heat's the only one on your list that I've seen. I have no idea what M is. The one I don't even have an inkling as to what it could be.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
All right, Harrison, what are you kicking off your list?
Okay, let's go over my list real quick. So right now I have Reservoir Dogs. That was kind of like my heisty type film. I only thing I know about is there's Mr. Pink and there's Mr. White. That's all I know. The other one I picked was Sucker Punch. I wanted to do like kind of like a superhero one. The other one I was going to put in here was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but I watched the trailer for Sucker Punch and it doesn't have a very high rating, but I just watched it. I was like, I remember wanting to watch this. I felt like I couldn't when it came out because I was like, oh man, like my parents won't let me.
damn parents.
And then I have Inglourious Bastards is another one,
Yes.
and that's kind of like the war. Get the war themed one. Magnificent Seven. This is the old one, and a lot of people just say like it's like the original, like the quintessential, like get the team together type of a film. I thought that'd be cool. And then Armageddon is my fifth one, and this is like a classic one from. I watched this all the time when I was younger, and it's got probably one of the best like get the team together scenes ever. I really really like it.
Yeah.
Like the whole scene when they're like training and getting ready to go into space is so cool.
Yeah, these are
Okay, I have to throw one of these off.
it's a really banger list,
Man.
Harrison.
Yeah, your list is pretty good.
I feel pretty good about it. Man, I don't even know what to throw off. Okay, I have to throw one off. I didn't think it was gonna be Sucker Punch. It might be Sucker Punch.
I think that
You know
makes
what?
the most
No.
sense. Okay, all right. Sorry.
Yeah, see, I kind of want to throw off Armageddon because I've seen it, and all the other ones I have.
Eh,
Do I want a comfy pick? Let's throw off Sucker Punch. I'm gonna throw that one.
okay.
All right, no Sucker Punch.
We'll get to another day. Okay, Scott, what's your list?
All right, so my list, I've got The Goonies. Candidly, I've talked a lot about this movie. I've never actually seen The Goonies.
Boy. Oh boy.
I've seen bits of it. I have memories of different things, but I genuinely don't think I've seen it all the way through. Super 8, I really like Super 8.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Fellowship of the Ring extended cut.
It's intimidating, but I'm excited.
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
So intimidating, but I'm so excited.
Then I have Interstellar 5555, which is
I'm so happy that's on your list.
it's an
don't even know
hour-long
what this
music
is.
video for Daft Punk's Discovery album.
God.
So we get to listen to Discovery. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
And then the last one on my list is Power Rangers the movie with Ivan Ooze.
Dude,
Yeah.
I am so hyped, and it's gonna get if I can put both of my votes on that for the fourth pick, it's getting it.
So the one I'm,
So excited
I'm
about
kicking
it.
out is Fellowship of the Ring. While I think it's probably
Oh.
the hands down best movie on this list, I'm also intimidated by it, and I want to watch the other ones more.
Too scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like Fellowship of the Ring, like Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's like there's so much to talk about. There's so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like I almost feel like I'm not ready for that yet. It's like, no, like I'm not like pro enough to do that yet.
Bring on the hate.
We'll
We can handle it.
Yeah, we'll see it. See it. All right, let's go through and do our picks. Ren, we're gonna do yours first.
All right.
$1917 is gonna be your pick.
I'm so happy about that. I
I am-
wanted it to be M or 1917.
Scott, I've talked about how you need to see this, and
I
now you
wanted
have
to see it
it.
so bad. I've wanted to
Now
see
we
it
have to watch it.
so bad.
You're about to go on a journey.
So that's gonna be the first one we watch.
Okay.
Harrison,
Second one we're gonna watch.
Harrison,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say I want yours to be Inglorious Bastards.
it
I
will
just
be.
want to have this
Really
war theme
badly.
up.
All right, here we go. We're gonna do Armageddon. Is gonna be our second
Armageddon's
one.
good too.
Okay.
It's a good one.
All right.
Armageddon's a really, really fun movie.
Sweet. And,
All right.
and
Look.
our guy Bruce Willis.
Straight up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got to give him some love.
I love me some Bruce, that's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Let's go with Scott's list. Ready? Oh, we're doing the Power Ranger movie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Dude, that's
Cool.
so good. Okay, so we've got our 3 movies. 1917, then Armageddon, and then the Power Ranger movie.
Okay.
What a lineup right there.
Hey, wait. I learned something about Ivan Ooze yesterday. Did you know the actor that plays Ivan Ooze is the same actor who plays Belloc in the first Indiana Jones movie?
I don't know.
No, but it's
Yeah.
awesome.
I can't remember his name, but I was like, that's insane. Like, that's the same actor. Anyways, we'll go over it
That's
in
great.
3 weeks.
All right. So
Okay,
my 2 votes.
so-
my
yeah.
2 votes
Mhm.
are Interstellar 5555 and M.
Okay.
Okay. Right, Ren, well, you get 2 votes, one from your list, one from someone else.
My vote is M. And
I know it's so hard.
oh man.
There's some good ones.
Have you guys both
We
seen
got some
Inglourious
good
Bastards?
I've never seen it.
Inglourious Bastards.
Okay. I am also going to put down Inglorious Bastards as as for pick for mine. And then let's see, what do I want for the other one? I should just do M.
This is hard.
It is tough. It's very tough. I think I'm going to go M as well.
All right.
Okay. So we have three spots in the randomizer for M, 2 for Inglorious Bastards, 1 for Interstellar 55.
It's gonna be Interstellar 555. Like 100%.
More than likely, and it landed on M. M is going to be our 4th
Super.
movie for the team.
I'm so excited about this weird mashup.
Dude,
Yeah, this is
we just
going to be weird. Yeah,
we got 4 bangers. And
yeah.
M is going to be interesting to end it all on because it's from 1931. We haven't done a movie anything like M, and it's going to
No.
be great.
The earliest we've done is 65 or 60. When was Paris, Texas?
No, that was I should know. It's 82.
What? No.
83. Let me check.
84.
84.
84.
Yeah.
Freak and heck.
That's the oldest.
Hold on. Let me see what
Wait,
the
no,
oldest is
Alien.
from.
Secrets of Nim is 82.
Alien is 78. Dude,
Nuts.
this is going to be great. It's going to be, I'm wondering how it's going to be interesting to talk about it because it's so out of context versus everything that we've talked about. I think it'll be a kind of a new challenge for us. And also, I want to do some older movies in the future too. So this will be a good little test run.
Straight up.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. We hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. Harrison handles the mixing, editing, and production, and Ren, that's me, takes care of the art and design. Want to join the conversation? Let's connect. Find us on Discord for film discussions, movie recommendations, and everything cinema. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and you can also connect with us on social media and show your support on Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes.